Hello, and welcome to our brief introduction to Stellarium. Stellarium is some free software that we will be using to learn some of the constellations and stars in the night sky. So this video is to give you a very basic introduction to downloading, installing, and operating Stellarium. You will need to install Stellarium on your own computer. To do this, go open your favorite web browser, go to stellarium.org, and then choose which operating system your computer is using. I am recording this on a Mac, so I've installed this version. However, Stellarium looks identical in Windows, so if you install Windows, it's still okay to watch this version recorded on my Mac. So go ahead and install Stellarium. If you have any problems with your installation, feel free to ask or to get some help. I've not had any problems on multiple computers installing this, so it should be fairly easy. If you need some additional guides, a user manual, the user guide is right here. It's a wiki page, so you click on there, it'll bring up the user guide, and the user guide has several pages on the installation and use of Stellarium in whatever language you feel like reading. So I'll assume that you have downloaded and installed Stellarium on your computer, and we will now open Stellarium for the first time. The first time you open Stellarium, it will show you how the sky currently looks at some location on the Earth. Now, for this download, it's showing me the sky in Paris, but this is not Paris, Texas, this is Paris, France. And I'm not in Paris, France, I'm near Dallas, so we need to change our location. The second thing that you can see in that bottom bar is that it's got the current date and time, and you'll notice that time is marching forward. Now that's fine if you want to see what the sky currently looks like. However, for a lot of our labs we will not want time to be moving. We will want to be able to zoom in and see stars still and not moving across the screen. So we'll also want to be able to change the date and time and to stop time from moving forward. So let's address each of these things in turn. Stellarium has two menus that are usually invisible to you. One is on the left side of the screen and the other is on the bottom of the screen. The one on the left side of the screen will pop out if you take your mouse over, pull the cursor over, and this is sort of a configuration menu. You can set your location, you can set the date and time, you can search for certain objects, you can change how it displays things, and many other configuration settings. So that's on the left. Mouse off of it, it goes and hides again so as not to block your view. The bottom menu is sort of your view and simulation menu. So we go down there, and here you can change what lines are drawn on the sky, some details about how the sky is shown to you, most of which we are not going to mess with. And then over here on the right we have controlling the speed at which the sky is moving. To pause the sky, you just click on this play button and you see it changes to pause, and you notice that the time has stopped moving, so it's currently paused. So that's our first step that we want to do. Second thing we want to do is change our location to Dallas. We should only have to do this once as long as we set this properly. So come to your configuration menu, go to location, left click, and it brings up a search bar. So let's search for our current location. We're in Dallas. As long as you're somewhere in Northeast Texas, Dallas is close enough. Most of the small towns around here are not in the database. So just go ahead and select Dallas, click on the name of the city, and you'll see it populates the latitude and longitude and altitude. We want to make sure this is checked to use it as our default location, and make sure you're on the planet Earth and everything's good. And yes, you can change the planet. Feel free to play around with that. But we're on Earth, so we'll just leave it as that. If you X out the window, it will save everything. And now we have the sky as it appeared at 10:52 p.m. and 18 seconds on January 13th. Let's say that we want a different date and time. We can come over to our configuration menu. We can change the date. Let's go forward a day. And let's change the time. Let's go to 8 p.m. You can either use the arrow menus to change the hour, or you can type. So let's change the minutes by typing in 8:00 and 0 seconds. So this is the sky as it will appear on January 14th at 8 p.m. If you want, you can even go into the daytime, and you will see that the sky lights up. This is not a picture of Dallas. This is a random meadow somewhere, but that's not important. What's more important is the sky. So let's go back to 8 p.m. So now we have the sky at 8 p.m. on January 14th. Time is frozen, so all the stars are paused at their location, and we're in Dallas, so we're good. Let's now move on to figure how to navigate in the sky. So you see that we are looking due south at the moment. That's what the red S means. But you may not always want to look south. If you want to look a different direction, the easiest way to move around is to use the arrow keys on your keyboard. If you want to turn your head to the left, just press the left arrow key like this. Press and hold, and it moves. If you just press once, it goes a little bit. But if you press and hold, it keeps going. If you want to look to the right, press and hold the right arrow key. If you want to look down, press the down arrow key, and you can look into the ground if you want. Press up, and you can look up. So it's a fairly intuitive way of just looking around the sky. So a few days ago, there were some news reports of a UFO outside of Greenville. And if people had used this program, they could have come in and said, oh, it was something bright and low in the southeast. So let's look around. There's south, there's east, and low in the sky, oh, look, there's this star called Sirius. And that's what people were seeing. So let's say you want to get some information on a star. Let's say you see a star and you want to know something about it. If you click on the star, you get some information. You get the name of the star, and a lot of stars have multiple names. The star Sirius, that's the name we normally call it. So we've got that information. We've got some information on its brightness, that's its magnitude. We'll learn about magnitudes in a few units. We've got some coordinates, the right ascension and declination, the azimuth and altitude. These are things that you will be learning about in your lab this week, so I'll let you struggle with them first. And then some more information about the star itself that we will be talking about again in a few units. Let's say you're sick of this information, you want to go away. Go back to the star, right-click on it, and the information goes away. If you want to go to a different star, you can just pick any one of these. It doesn't need to have a name. Let's pick this one, click on it, and we get that information. And I never knew there was a star called Wazn. Too bad it's probably not a legal Scrabble word. Anyway, right-click again, get rid of it. Let's say that there's a star that you have heard of, or a planet that you've heard of, and you know it's visible, but you're not sure where to find it. You can use the search tool in your configuration window menu. So your search tool is here. Pull it up. Type in the name of the object. Let's say that we want to find the star Aldebaran. We type in the name of it. Hit enter. And it automatically centers on the star and brings up the information window about the star. So there's Aldebaran. If we wanted to go to a different star, or let's say that you wanted to find the asteroid Ceres, C-E-R-E-S, just hit enter, and it puts little crosshairs there to show you where it is. Now you notice you can't see it right now, and that's because this program is designed to show you how the sky would look if you didn't have a telescope. So you could zoom in here and show fainter stars and be able to see the asteroid, but we're not going to be doing that right now in this class. Finally, let's look at some of these options in the view window. We will be learning about the constellations. We'll learn the winter constellations in a few weeks, and also some of the spring and summer constellations. So you can put up artwork for the constellations if you want. I'm not sure how useful that always is. As we will learn, there are a lot of very stylized constellations that don't look anything like they're supposed to. You can put up names of the constellations or take them off. You can put up lines that connect the stars, sort of a connect the dots. You can put up all three at once if you want. We also have grids. These are coordinate grids. You'll be using those this week. So here's a grid that shows the altitude and azimuth of stars. You can get rid of the grid here. The last thing we'll look at is this one right here that looks like the weather. Stellarium simulates the sky where you are. And in Dallas, there's a lot of light from street lights. There's also a fair amount of crud in our atmosphere, as you see when you look down toward the horizon here. You see this sort of brighter area. That's because here you're looking through more air and there's more haze and dust and other crud to reflect more street lights. So Stellarium simulates all of that, and if you want to see the sky as it would look without any atmosphere, you can just turn the weather off. And what you see is that a lot more stars become visible because of the lack of light pollution. So again, it's your choice if you want to see the sky as it looks where you are or as it would look in a very dark location. That's up to you. When you're ready to exit Stellarium, when you're done with a lab, you just come over here to this button that looks like a power button, press it, and Stellarium will close. This has been your introduction to Stellarium. Go ahead and complete the introductory lab, and that will give you some practice in running Stellarium and using some of these tools that we were just talking about, and teach you a little bit about coordinates in the night sky. If you have any problems or any questions, feel free to send me an email or to post a question in the discussion section of Unit 1 on eCollege, and we'll try and help you out and get you working on this.